Have you ever felt really smart reading the news in English?
Oh, absolutely. You read the headline, you get the gist.
Right? You feel like a global citizen, very intellectual.
Then someone asks you, so, what did you read?
And suddenly, your brain just goes blank. Everything stops.
It's like the words are there, but they won't come out.
Exactly. You know the details, but forming a coherent sentence about, say, global economics, impossible.
We totally get it. Talking about complex global news can feel like a huge step up from ordering coffee.
Welcome back to the English Blend.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leo.
And I'm Mia.
Today, we are tackling that exact problem, talking about global news in English.
We want to show you that you don't need to be perfect to discuss complex topics.
You just need strategies and maybe a few new phrases.
Exactly. So grab your coffee and let's get started.
Let's start with the foundational idea that we talk about a lot on this show.
It's the difference between fluency and accuracy. It's critical here.
People often mix them up, but they are very, very different skills.
Think of it this way. Accuracy is precision. It's perfect grammar, flawless vocabulary choice.
You are a grammatical surgeon. Every preposition, every tense is exactly correct.
But when you focus too much on accuracy, you stop moving.
That brings us to fluency. Fluency is flow and speed.
It means you can keep the conversation going. You can communicate your message.
Even if you make 3 small grammar mistakes along the way.
If I say, yesterday, I go to the store, is that accurate?
No, the tense is wrong. It should be I went.
But do you understand my message? Do you know what I did yesterday?
100%. The message was communicated perfectly.
That's fluency in action. Communication is the priority.
And when we talk about big topics like global news, which are intimidating, fluency is more important than ever.
Why? Because if you pause for 10 seconds trying to remember the difference between the past perfect continuous and the simple past, the conversation moves on without you.
You miss your chance to speak. You lose the momentum.
We call this the grammar block.
Oh, the grammar block. It's the enemy of every English learner.
It's that internal voice saying, stop, don't say it until you are sure the adjective order is perfect.
And because global news uses more complex sentences than ordering a sandwich, the grammar block gets stronger.
It paralyzes you. You start trying to translate complex thoughts word by word from your native language.
Which never works, especially with news terminology.
So we have to recognize that the pursuit of 100% accuracy is often what stops fluency.
You are trading communication for perfection, and perfection usually doesn't happen in real-time conversation.
It just doesn't. Native speakers make mistakes all the time. We use fillers, we restart sentences.
We might say, well, the thing about that political policy, I agree with the main point.
See? Very natural. Not perfectly structured, but the point got across.
That brings us to our first key phrase for today. We want you to focus on how to get your point across.
This phrase, get your point across, means successfully communicating your main idea, even if the delivery isn't perfect.
For example, even though I struggled with the vocabulary, I managed to get my point across about the environmental treaty.
That's a great example. It shifts the focus from how you spoke to what you said.
The listener understood the main message. That's a victory. So when discussing global news, aim to get your point across. Don't worry about the subordinate clause structure.
Don't let complex grammar intimidate you. If you know the core facts, use simple sentences.
Simple sentences are powerful. The economy is struggling.
Done.
The leaders met yesterday. Clear and effective.
If you try to say, the representatives, who had previously disagreed on fiscal matters, convened yesterday to discuss the newly proposed legislation, that's a lot of chances for your brain to stop you.
Way too many moving parts. Stick to the basics, especially when you are under pressure in a conversation.
We'd have to actively fight the grammar block.
How do we fight it?
We need to accept that mistakes are just part of the process.
And we need practice in communicating complex ideas simply.
Let's talk about a short story that illustrates how grammar anxiety can mess things up even when the intention is good.
Ooh, I love a good story. So I had a student, let's call him Marcos. Marcos was brilliant at reading news.
He knew everything about geopolitics, I bet.
Everything. He read The Economist cover to cover, but he was terrified of the conditional tense.
Ah, the if-then structures. So common in news analysis.
Right. He was discussing a potential trade war. He knew the argument, which was if country A raises tariffs, then country B will retaliate.
A standard second conditional scenario, maybe third, depending on the timing.
Exactly. But when he spoke, he paused for almost 30 seconds before every sentence involving that structure.
He was calculating the verb endings.
He was calculating the verb endings, the tense harmony, everything. His friend, who was listening, finally jumped in and said, "Marcos, just tell me what happens."
Then what did Marcos say?
He finally stammered out, "If they put the tax, the other nation also put tax."
Grammatically imperfect, but clear.
Perfectly clear. The listener understood the mechanism of the trade war immediately.
His friend didn't care about the past participle. He cared about the core message.
That whole 30-second pause was just wasted time and wasted confidence, just because he wanted to be perfectly accurate.
The cultural note here is that in English conversations, speed and interaction usually trump perfection.
We value the exchange. We value the connection.
We don't grade your response. We just want to know your opinion on the environmental treaty or the election results.
So remember Marcos. Don't let the technicality of the conditional tense stop you from getting your point across.
Great story, Leo. That brings us nicely into some practical, actionable tips.
These are steps you can take today to make discussing news easier and more fluent.
Our first tip is something we call massive input and focused output.
Massive input means consuming a lot of English media, specifically related to the news.
Don't just read the articles, listen to the podcasts, watch the short news clips on YouTube.
And do it often. You need massive exposure to how news language sounds.
When you hear native speakers discuss politics or finance, they use predictable phrases.
These predictable phrases are what we call chunks or collocations. For example, instead of translating "a crisis happened," you hear, "they are dealing with a mounting crisis."
Mounting crisis. That's a chunk. You learn those three words together.
That leads to the focused output part of the tip. Try to steal those chunks immediately.
Read an article about global warming. Identify 5 new natural-sounding phrases, or chunks.
Maybe it's climate resilience or sustainable development goals. Write them down, and here's the key, use them in the next 24 hours. Even if you just talk to yourself or write a diary entry, you need to activate that vocabulary.
Don't try to learn 50 words. Focus on those 5 chunks and get them into your active speaking vocabulary.
The difference is that a single word requires you to construct a sentence around it. A chunk is the structure.
It saves your brain time and energy. It bypasses the grammar block.
Because you are saying a phrase that you know is correct, rather than building it piece by piece.
That was tip 1. Massive input and focused output. Find those chunks.
Tip number 2 is crucial for stopping that hesitation we talked about earlier. We call it the 3-second rule.
I love the 3-second rule. It's radical, but it works.
When someone asks you a question or you want to contribute to a discussion, you have 3 seconds to start speaking.
1, 2, 3, speak.
If you wait longer than 3 seconds, your brain will switch from communicating mode to analyzing and criticizing mode.
That's when the grammar block shows up with its clipboard, ready to check your verb tenses.
We want to beat the grammar block to the punch. We want to start before it has time to think.
So if you are discussing the latest conflict and someone asks, "What do you think is the main issue?"
Don't pause and translate. Just start, even if your first word is, "well," or "I think that."
Well, I think that the biggest challenge is the infrastructure.
Simple, fast, and fluent. You have started talking.
You can always correct yourself later or circle back if you realize you used the wrong word.
The most important thing in communication is the willingness to engage.
The 3-second rule forces engagement. It prioritizes fluency over absolute accuracy.
Try it next time you are practicing English. Set a timer mentally. 3 seconds max.
If you find yourself hesitating, just use a filler word like or to buy a microsecond and then deliver the core message.
That gives you ownership of the conversation. You are controlling the pace, not the fear.
Okay, tip number 3. Rephrase complex ideas simply.
News articles are written for a highly educated audience, often with very specific jargon.
You don't have to repeat the jargon perfectly when you speak.
If the article talks about quantitative easing measures, you can just say, the government is printing more money.
Much clearer and more fluent.
If they mention geopolitical instability in the region, you can say, the area is very volatile and there might be a war.
You are demonstrating that you understood the concept without getting tangled up in the formal vocabulary.
When you are preparing to discuss a news story, practice simplifying the main points out loud.
Say it like you are explaining it to a child, or maybe to your busy colleague who only has 30 seconds.
This forces you to focus on the meaning, not the exact wording.
And meaning, remember, is the core of getting your point across.
We said we'd give you 3 to 5 tips, so let's add a 4th quick one. Shadowing news reporters.
Shadowing is amazing, but challenging.
It means listening to a short news clip, maybe 30 seconds, and speaking along with the reporter at the exact same time.
You are copying the intonation, the rhythm, and the speed.
It's not about understanding every word. It's about mimicking the sound of fluency.
This helps build muscle memory in your mouth for the specific sounds and flow of formal English discussion.
You'll feel ridiculous, but it's incredibly effective for improving pronunciation and speaking speed.
Do this just 5 minutes a day with a news podcast you like. It helps with the rhythm of complicated sentences.
Okay, so we have covered fluency versus accuracy, the grammar block, and 4 practical tips.
Let's shift to our language focus segment, where we introduce a couple more useful phrases.
We already introduced get your point across. Our second phrase is great for when you feel overwhelmed by a topic.
This one is to hit a wall.
When you hit a wall, it means you have reached a point where you cannot continue, usually because of confusion, tiredness, or complexity.
It's a physical feeling applied to mental effort, like you ran into a physical barrier.
For example, I was reading the analysis of the trade sanctions, but I totally hit a wall after the 3rd paragraph.
It's a very natural way to express that you are struggling or that the information was too complex to absorb.
You can use it in conversation too. If someone asks your opinion on a really complicated political move, you can say,
Honestly, I read the report this morning, but I hit a wall trying to understand the financial implications.
that shows you engaged with the topic, but you reached your limit. It's honest and fluent.
Much better than just saying, I don't know.
Our third and final phrase is designed to lower the pressure when you inevitably make a mistake.
Which you will, and that is totally fine. The phrase is, it's not the end of the world.
This is a fantastic idiom. It means that the mistake or problem is minor and not catastrophic. If you mix up your verb tenses while discussing the news, just tell yourself, it's not the end of the world.
Or if you mispronounce the name of a foreign leader. Oops, I said the name wrong, but it's not the end of the world.
It reminds us that fluency is about continuing to speak, not stopping for self-criticism.
A misplaced comma or a forgotten S in the third-person singular is certainly not the end of the world.
The stakes are incredibly low, even when discussing high-stakes global news.
So, let's quickly recap everything we've discussed today about talking about global news in English.
We started by establishing that fluency is communication, not perfection. Accuracy can wait.
Don't let the grammar block paralyze you. Focus on getting your point across.
We shared the short story of Marcos, the expert who almost let conditional tense fear silence him. Don't be Marcos.
Then we moved into our key practical tips for discussing complex topics.
Tip 1 was massive input and focused output. Identify those useful chunks of language from news sources.
Tip 2, the revolutionary 3-second rule to force immediate engagement and beat the inner critic.
Tip 3 was rephrase complex ideas simply. Use simple English to explain complicated jargon.
And our bonus tip 4 was shadowing news reporters to gain natural flow and rhythm.
Finally, we introduced 2 great phrases for managing the difficulty of news discussion: to hit a wall when you get stuck,
And the comforting reminder that making mistakes means it's not the end of the world.
Remember, the goal isn't to sound like a news anchor. The goal is to participate in the conversation.
The more you use these tips and phrases, the easier it will be to naturally express your complex opinions.
Start simple. Pick one news story today and practice summarizing it out loud, focusing on speed, not correctness.
Practice getting your point across, even if you hit a grammatical wall occasionally. It will not be the end of the world, we promise.
That was a great talk. We hope this episode helps you feel more confident when discussing global events in English.
Yes, see you in the next episode of The English Blend.